We are live. What up,
Okay,
guys?
we are live.
What up, guys? Welcome to podcast number
Are we
7
live?
of IndieCorner. I hope
Hey,
that you
what up?
guys had a great week. And with us, we always have Schmuckman,
Hey there.
aka Math, but he don't like me to call him that. Whatever, Schmuckman. Unfortunately, we don't have Sam because he's with a bad case of flu right now. Stuffs have been kind of like that here in Portugal. And we have Ruben, or Ruben.
Ruben, that's the new nickname. I'm better
Ruben.
get used to it, I guess.
From Outriders Studios. And tonight we're going to be talking about his project called Back Then. So, first of all, thank you so much for accepting our invite, Ruben.
Thanks for inviting me.
That is awesome having you here on so short
Give me a
time.
son.
On short notice. Day late. Well,
I would just
Yeah.
like to mention that the podcast just started and someone already wants my babies. I don't take that as you will. I don't know what that means.
Give me a son. A son. Give me. Rafa, what up? How you doing?
Jeez. Hi Rafa, how you doing?
Yeah, I was speaking with Rafa today, and he asked me, "Oh, you're going to have Ruben on your podcast?" And I was like, "You're right. just come in and ask questions." So, oh my God, I have Facebook open again. Jesus, that's no bueno. I'm sorry. Apologize about that. But yeah, let's start with your project. How stuff's started. How many are you guys on the studio? But yeah, first things
Okay.
first. When this whole idea of the back then come from?
Okay, so basically January 2019, Global Game Jam just started. And that year's theme was home, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And I basically just gathered around the people that I'm closest with in my class, which was Achilles, Caleb, and Carlos, and two others. Diogo was there back then, but that guy's job was more around movies and whatnot, and he was just like in charge of the whole narrative for the project.
I see.
And Bruno, who was in our class as well. And we basically started saying, oh, since the theme is home, we can do, maybe a sleep paralysis type of game or something. And we quickly dropped that idea because I don't know if you've ever tried to make a sleep paralysis game, but it's so weird because you're just clicking things, and we wanted more. We wanted like a project that not only had a bit more substance to it, but it actually had like a social commentary message behind it. And Achilles basically said, what if we make a game about an old guy with Alzheimer's? And I'm like, that could actually work. And then we found out that everyone in the team had family with Alzheimer's,
Wow.
and stuff kind of went from there. And then I did a little bit of research in that event, and I found out that Portugal is the fourth highest country with the most Alzheimer's rate
holy shit, dude.
worldwide, which is kind of crazy because we're only like 11 million people. So
Yeah.
we actually thought about this really, really in depth, and we said, even if we don't, actually win the global game jam or whatever, we want to see this project to the end, and that's exactly what we started doing in June. We got third place, I think, at global game jam in our university, and who cares really? Because
Congrats.
it's a game jam. It doesn't really mean that much. What it did mean is that we actually had a really cool project on our hands, and we wanted to work on it really badly. So we finished the course, and in June last year, we basically just went ham on it. And we started organizing ourselves, we started marketing plans, we started documentation, we did all these things. And yeah, it's been a wild ride.
So sleep. The first idea of the game. Are you
Yeah,
guys?
it was a
Damn.
sleep paralysis game. Yeah, that's how it began.
Damn, I hate that feeling. I had that like I don't know, 2 to 3 times, and that's no bueno. I had that feeling. So yeah.
Yeah, I've suffered sleep paralysis myself like a couple of times before, and no, it's not pretty and it's not pleasant at all.
Oh my god.
Which was why I found it so cool as in terms of like as a game. It sounded really cool in my head, but
Sounds like an idea for a good horror game or a
Exactly.
scary game.
but then again, Achilles dropped the Alzheimer card, and we were like, yeah, that's it. We only had 48 hours to make the game, so I mean,
All
the
right.
best idea we had at the time, we just ran with it, and thankfully, it was a really good idea.
That was the yellow card. Like
Yeah,
here.
basically.
Okay. That's a really cool idea. But still talking about that idea, you know, a game called I think it's gun game or hand game or something like that, in which you have to press different keys to actually move your hand. Like for instance, imagine that you want to close your hand, you have to
Like
press
Surgeon Simulator, something along those
something
lines.
like that.
I
Something
am
like
not good at Surgeon Simulator.
Oh god, let's not.
I have
That was a
committed
whole
so many
mood.
ethical violations and done all the drugs myself.
okay. So
Also played it drunk, which did not help.
so you guys all met each other on your school, right?
Yep.
How many are you on the studio right now?
We're four,
4.
hence the Outrider name. Each of us is a different horseman of the apocalypse. That's the whole joke.
Wow. Okay.
And,
Holy crap, that's awesome.
and
Which one are
yeah,
you?
I'm Conquest, supposedly,
Okay.
because I'm the marketing and programmer guy, so I conquer the terrain, quote unquote. I don't fucking know, man. I'm Conquest, and I do my saying, and that's it.
Okay. So tell me about your job on the studio and the job of the 3 other
Okay.
people on the studio. What you guys
So-
do?
Horsemen.
So, contrary to popular belief, we're not actually horses or horsemen. We're only men.
Okay. Okay. So you don't leave your
And-
horses on outside
No,
of the
not at all.
studio.
We don't even have a
Right,
stable
horse.
yet. Although I'm trying to contact PlayStation about us having our own PlayStation stable. That would be pretty cool. Anyways, I'm the programmer and I do marketing and PR mostly. Caleb is in charge of narrative, sound design, and music. Achilles is everything 2D, and Carlos is everything 3D. So
Okay.
we kind of just separated the roles between ourselves, and we're versatile in the sense of I know how to do 3D as well. Caleb knows how to program a little bit. Carlos knows how to program as well. Most of us can draw semi okay, but not as good as Achilles, hence why he's the art director and in charge of the whole 2D thing.
Okay.
But yeah, we basically we're very versatile, and all of us understand a bit of each area, and we understand enough to help each other out on our specific areas. So that means, in terms of reunions and whatnot, we kind of have everything like rolling always, because if Carlos has a problem with a 3D model, everyone can comment on it, and same thing along semi okay.
Yeah, Raf is saying
Semi-okay.
semi. Okay.
Semi okay. It's true. I'm a terrible drawer. Okay, because I had the greatest idea of my life, which was to go to an art course, and I never drew anything in my life.
Hey.
Yeah,
But hey,
somewhere.
I finished it, kind of, right? So that's good. Yeah.
It
Did he
was
actually finish it, chat?
exactly. It was just like Ze from Exophobia. You know Ze, right?
Yeah.
He told us, I don't play first-person shooter games, and what was his
Oh,
idea?
yeah.
Let's do a first-person shooter game. It was
Pixel art.
basically like that.
Yes.
Yeah. I kind of did the same thing with the project I was working on in college. I made this whole entire Tim Burton-esque inspired world, and that was entirely in black and white with 22 different endings and whatnot, and it was entirely hand-drawn, including
Awesome.
animations. And all my teachers hated me for it because it was a sad game and they didn't want their students to make a sad game, and I just kind of didn't give a shit, and I kept making a sad game. And yeah, the irrational world of Damien, everybody, is not gonna see the light of day, but hopefully one day I might.
You
That's the
can
plan.
just
Next
add a
project.
clown to that game to make people think that it's funny, but no, that's a bad idea. People usually don't like clowns, right?
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know.
true.
I don't know.
I got no problem with clowns. I'm gonna be honest with you, they don't bother me one bit.
Me neither, but some people
Yeah, I
have
don't
some
have a problem with
problems.
clowns either, but I actually, yeah, I have an ex that is really, really adamant about not seeing clowns at all. Like you know the It movie that came out, the
Yeah.
first one, chapter 1 that came out in like
Yeah, yeah.
2017. Yeah, she hated the shit out of that movie. Like she couldn't watch like the first 15 minutes. She was like, nope.
I'm out
there.
of here. No, there was something about clowns a few years ago. I guess it was in America. Like people were putting up.
Oh,
Clown-
you're talking about the crazy like people dressing up as clowns and tormenting other people in the middle of the night
Exactly.
and dropping balloons and stuff. Like
Exactly. I guess that's kind
yeah, that was
of.
a whole
What?
trend for a bit. I don't know why.
You had no idea about that, Shmaki?
I am not sure what you're talking about.
Dude,
Oh
so
boy.
yeah, there was a whole story. A couple years ago, some random dudes tried to. Well, they actually did that. Stood up with clown suits and yeah, just leaving balloons on the floor
And
and
just terrorizing people in the middle of the night.
exactly. That was
I
something.
don't know, man. America.
Exactly.
It's just America. I mean,
Sorry.
yeah, sorry Americans, but you know what I'm talking about. You can't judge me.
I wasn't gonna. I'm just maybe that.
I don't know
What?
the state that happened, but that happened.
I think there were multiple states actually that happened
Multiple.
in, which doesn't help the case at all.
God, okay. Okay, I had no idea. But yeah, talking about the game, tell us the story of the game, like the gameplay. What's the objective of the game? I know that it's a very it's not specific, but it's a very touchy story, if we can put it like there. So
Okay.
have some backstory related to it.
Right. So I think the hardest part about explaining how the game works is that, you know, the base headline of the game is that you're playing a character that has Alzheimer's.
Mhm.
But what the hell does that actually mean in the terms of a game? So in order for us to actually showcase how the disease itself works and how you get to, you know, the lowest point of it, we separated the narrative in two parts, which is the past of the main character and currently his present. In the present is where basically, you know, all the screenshots and everything you've seen from the game right now are in the present because we're keeping all the past, you know, under wraps because that's where the cool stuff happens mostly.
Mm-hmm.
But in the present, he already has Alzheimer's. You know, the last stage of it. He's basically on his deathbed, and he's waiting for a visit from his family.
Okay.
And the gameplay differs in two ways. In the present, you have very few interactions, but each interaction that you complete unlocks something different, and it helps the character remember his past slowly. So let's say you interact with a guitar, and all of a sudden he remembers his old radio show that he used to have where he played guitar. All of a sudden he remembers
How to
that
play
one
it.
of his sons played with him, and then you unlock something else that you can interact with. Along those points, you're going to suffer some flashbacks, which is where you're going to the past. And in the past gameplay scenarios, you have not only puzzles and enigmas to figure out, you have collectibles, you have a lot of stuff to do, and the game opens up a lot more. And it just gives you total freedom to just, you know, here's the level, explore everything you can. If you find puzzles, complete them if you can. If you don't, then that's okay. As long as you progress through the game and you progress through the narrative, you can reach the ending and you can skip some stuff. Not
Okay.
everything, you're not obligated to do everything, but if you take your time to explore and whatnot, you will get rewarded for doing so.
Okay.
And I think that's pretty
That
well
sums.
explained. I don't know, I tried.
Something that I haven't mentioned. First, congrats on the prize because you guys won the
Oh,
award
thank you.
of PlayStation, the Game of the Year for PlayStation Talents here in Portugal. The-
Yep.
and you
So-
guys got nominated for a bunch of other,
Hey
right?
guys, follow the game, yeah? It's a
There you
pretty cool
go.
game. They actually gave us this. This is outdated though, because when we enlisted for the PlayStation Awards, the RP Studios part was still a thing, but it no longer is. So we'll just pretend that isn't there.
Okay. So, someone from I was watching that on streaming, and someone wanted really bad the card, and he said, "I will sleep with this." Did you guys sleep with the card, with the award card, or not really?
I hate this question so much.
Oh, because you did. Okay.
No, here's the thing. I'm currently in my studio, right? And I have the card right here, and I've fallen asleep on my chair. So technically, I slept with this card.
There you go, folks. The mystery
So
has been solved.
there's your answer. I'm sorry. I'm
Oh my god, awesome. But yeah, congrats. Are you,
Thank you.
aware of the stuff that you guys won, or are you still a little bit like?
I'm aware of what we won. I am terrified of what we won. If that makes any sense.
No,
Because
it does.
now we actually have to open up an actual studio and do all this legal stuff and
Oh,
yada yada yada, and it's a whole 9 yards of complications and headaches. But we're gonna get through it, and we're gonna do our thing, and we're gonna release the game this year at the end, hopefully, if everything goes according to plan.
This year, okay.
And yes,
I was
Okay.
gonna ask
I
if there's a
already
release
answered
date
the
yet.
question that you probably would have
Exactly. So let's forget about that, right, guys? You guys, it's like Men in Black. You know the that thing that they use for people to don't remember what they saw. Yeah, we're going to use that right now. A flash.
But yeah, we're currently going through the most boring process of this of the award winning thing, because now we're actually looking for a place to open up our studio in. We're looking for partnerships for equipment. We're looking for a lot of things. And I've been constantly, just traveling everywhere and talking to a bunch of people. And hopefully everything will turn out okay, because, the PlayStation Awards isn't meant to fund the project. It's meant to be a little bit of a help,
Mhm.
in the sense of, hey, you won this award, so your game is going on PlayStation. That's basically, the help that they give you. And they're more of a support line, if that makes any sense. They're not exactly there to help you, run marketing campaigns for you or anything, but they will help you with documentation. They will help you with any questions you might have about the PS4 kit.
Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
I was about to ask you that the kit for PlayStation 4, they also gift you that. But yeah, for those who don't know, the price was like, of course, a budget, a studio in Lisbon, and the recognition from everyone, because you guys now are like Cristiano Ronaldo. You guys are on the
we're
street
like
and
the rock stars of game dev, apparently.
hey, the guys from back then. I want
Hey,
to.
sponsors, here you go.
God.
But yeah, but actually, it's very very cool to see that companies are supporting this kind of events. It's really cool to see that, and this awards. I think it was the what, the sixth edition.
It was the fifth edition.
Okay, the fifth edition. So it goes 5 years. Okay, it's pretty cool. Please continue supporting this kind of projects because they are awesome. Guys on chat, if you guys have any question, please toss us not a coin, but a question to your
Wasn't it
dev.
like 10k in money for development, 50k in marketing, and the studio plus the dev kit? Yes, that is all correct. Except the 10k in money, you're not gonna see any of it until you open up an actual studio. The
Okay.
50k for marketing, I can't talk about that. And the studio, they actually like proposed us a few locations, but we're still like figuring things out because I'm from Entroncamento, and that's about an hour and a half away from Lisbon, and I don't want to travel by train twice per day again.
Yeah.
So we're kind of trying to find a way around that problem. But yeah,
Well,
I don't know.
You can always sleep there, right?
No, I can't, because that was literally the first question I asked at the
Can't
meeting
live
in
there.
the station.
Oh
Just make
god.
everyone else
Literally,
travel every day.
I walked into the room, and my first question was, "Can I sleep at the studio?" And they just looked at me and started laughing. And I was like, "Did I say something dumb?"
I'm sorry then.
Fine then. Jeez, I'll just get home at midnight again. Sure.
Fine, I'll sleep in a ditch. Okay, it's fine.
Yeah, I'll just sleep under the bridge next to the other hobos. I mean, I'm a game dev. It's not that far.
Wow.
Just get a van. You'll be fine.
Yeah, a van is a good idea. But tell me something. You're working on a full time right now on your project, or you
Yes,
have
me and Caleb are working full time on the project. Carlos and Achilles have full time jobs, but they help whenever they can. But yeah,
Okay.
basically.
Okay. So right now you don't have any sort of income, right? You're
No.
working on the project, but
Except for freelance work that I do every now and then, I don't have like an established income source or revenue stream of any kind. I just make do with what I know how to do, and I charge people for it.
yeah.
That's
So right
kind of
now
how I've been rocking.
right now your studio is kind of like your house right now, right? No?
Basically,
Oh.
yeah.
So how do you I mean, having your computer, your workstation at home, how can you separate both stuffs? Like, okay, right now I will work. I'm at home, but I will work.
Right.
You have those types of schedule
Well,
in your mind?
I use a program called Habitica on a daily basis because that helps me organize my time and what I actually need to do and what I'm doing and what I'm going to be doing next and stuff like that. The thing is, there comes a point where you. I just read chat. I'm sorry.
Someone's gonna have to translate
Ele
that.
dá, irmão.
Ele dá, irmão. God damn it. It's an inside joke. I fucking love that. But yeah, sometimes it doesn't really feel like I'm walking into my studio and I'm gonna work because I'm so used to playing, like World of Warcraft with my dad, and I'm in this studio, but now it's my workplace, but it didn't used to be my workplace, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
You used to play here, but now you work here.
exactly. And it reaches a point where sometimes you just walk into your studio and you don't know if you're going to like have fun or if you're gonna work, and that's a terrible feeling.
So that's why you use that software to help manage your time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Habitica manages my not in the sense of like hours, but I divide everything by tasks and then put deadlines on each task I need to do.
Okay.
So for example, if I have a press release I want to throw out until the end of the week, I'll just go to Habitica, make a task, make a checklist of the things I have to do for that press release, put a schedule on it, and then eventually I'll get it done because it's literally the first app I open on a daily basis.
Okay.
Wow.
Was actually something that I saw. Well, you know Flip Pina, right?
Yeah.
From the podcast Papsic, and of course he is also a dev. And I went. It was I don't remember the name of the event, but it was an event organized by Diogo, with all those devs talking on the stage. It was the game dev something. I don't remember the name of it. But Pino was there talking about, and the title of his subject was "Working in Pajamas." And
Oh, you're talking about his presentation Game Dev Camp.
yeah, exactly. Man, that was awesome because when he's about to work, he's about to work. He don't have the computer on the same room as his bed, so
That's the trick. That's the trick. You can't work in the same place where you sleep. Otherwise, something in your brain is just going to be like, this
I'm
is
at
where I
home.
sleep, so I don't work here, you know?
Exactly, exactly. Was cool watching that. It's cool that you're mentioning that you work at home, and yeah, I'm kind of remembering about those stuffs. Um, you want to talk about the project that you already have on Steam?
Oh boy. I haven't talked about this project in a podcast in like
You have
years.
another one?
Straight to the thing.
So
I don't know if you want to, but
okay. So I
It was a
didn't plan
solo.
for this. I didn't. Yes, it was solo. I made it myself. But here's the thing. Okay, I got something here that I wasn't planning to bring up to the show. But since you make a point,
It brought it. Okay.
those lines.
Oh God.
I'm in
Okay.
perfection, as you can tell.
A demon's game.
Yeah. So you can barely see it, but
No,
I
I
tried.
can. We can. We
Yeah, I
can.
can't
Oh,
tell what
hold
that
on.
is really.
Yeah. We can.
So that game is always going to be very special for me because it was my first commercial project and I made it entirely by myself except for voice acting.
Mm-hmm.
And I made it over the course of 2 years when I was 17 until I was 19, I think. And it served as my final project for 12th grade. And I made that game. And I showed it off to a couple of juries and whatnot, and they really liked it. And one of my programming teachers back then basically said, "Hey, why don't you just send an email to Lisbon Games Week? They're probably gonna like it." And I'm like, sure, what do I have to lose? And I did. And lo and behold, 2016, I not only finished 12th grade, but I went to my first convention in Portugal with a game. And that's how I
Nice.
jump started my career.
Well, when I was finishing my 12th grade, I was probably playing Call of Duty, and you were doing games already.
It's actually my dad loves to tell this story because when I was about like 13 years old, I asked him, "Hey dad, how do you make video games?" And he just shrugged and tell me to go to Google, and I did. And here I am now.
Actually, that's something that a teacher. I've been mentioning this. That a teacher of mine on school always told us: "You don't know the answer, then Google it." I'm just here reading my book, and yeah, we had to do that. Just Google. If you guys have questions, it's on Google.
Do you
Probably.
have any concrete concepts of future projects you can share for after back then?
Sounds like a
Oof.
great teacher, by the way.
Our animation teacher did the same. Let's not talk about our teachers because they might be watching. It would be really weird. Okay, so
College is over a decade ago for me. I
future projects
talk
after
all the
back
shit I
then.
want.
Okay, so here's the thing. Obviously, I would like to eventually complete this project because I have 4 episodes planned for this and I only released one.
4?
There you go.
Okay.
Future projects.
Okay.
And I would like to finish Damien at some point, but for that game, I'm gonna need like an entire art department because it's 61 scenarios and I can't draw them all with the detail that I want to draw them.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. Other than that, I do have a couple ideas. I mean, I have a book filled with game ideas that I've had over the years that I would like to eventually make prototypes of, or eventually even like full-blown releases. But I can't share too much because
Oh
those
boy.
ideas might be stolen.
Oh boy. So you have you need to have the patents, right? I don't know if
Yes, the copyright
Yeah.
thingy.
Okay. Hey, we want to
Which
hear
I do
that.
for this game and
Okay.
this game too. But this game is more important.
Okay.
At least for me.
Well, this could
I'm sure my team would
awkward
disagree.
then.
Okay. We want to know info in first hand whenever you can share with us. Okay. Hey,
Okay.
I'm Fred. No, I'm kidding.
Oh boy, you're gonna come visit my town and be like, where the hell are all the phenomenons? And it's just me, and a bunch of cows and stuff.
Brr.
So hope you have fun. Don't get caught by gypsies in the street, and best of luck.
Okay. Okay.
Please don't visit. It's terrible out here. Please don't.
Why? I can hear donkeys right outside my window. I'm not even kidding. And I live in the
Really?
city. Yeah, yeah.
That's peculiar.
I mean, I have
Because
donkeys,
sure.
chickens, sometimes horses as well, like running on the street. So yeah, I would say that it's pretty cool to have animals around you, right?
So you're telling me that you're living a real life Stardew Valley situation.
Kinda. I don't have the farm, but I do have the animals. Exactly.
Oh my god, the last comment on the stream is magical.
Welcome to our tour.
Exactly.
The house and the tour is over. That'll be $35.
Oh my god.
Um,
It's really funny because basically started a whole meme in the game dev industry here in Portugal because it's just the fact that I'm from Entroncamento and I'm the only guy from Entroncamento that makes video games makes it hilarious. And whenever I show up on like a news article or something along those lines, they always say the same, like, I don't know. They always call me the Jovem do Entroncamento. And that basically means Entroncamento's youth, okay? Here's the thing. It caught on, and I don't know why, and everyone in the industry calls me that now.
You're stuck with that.
But
it.
it's about to get a whole lot worse.
I'm
Own it.
crying. Stop it. Yes, we do have makeup here for the podcast, okay?
Oh my god.
Oh my god.
Entroncamento stuck.
Exactly. That also happened to me. When I'm trying to say something in Portuguese and I'm talking in English, I say that with stuck. Okay. With the accent.
Entroncamento boy.
Oh boy.
2330 on the represent. That's the postal code. I need to kill myself. Okay. Anyways.
But yeah, I mean, you guys won the prize, the main prize, but you were also nominated for the best narrative, the
Yep.
most innovator, best press, and Games for Good. I'm not aware what Games for Good
What is
was
it?
for.
Yeah, that.
The Games for Good is a new award that started this year, if I'm not mistaken, or the year before. Can't recall. I think it was this year. But it's basically, the game that talks about social problems and faces them head on and has actually, whole message behind it. And it isn't just that, just another video game. It's just
Okay.
the thing with back then. Okay, it was this year. Mitsurai just confirmed it.
Okay, this year. Okay.
Because the thing with back then is that from the get-go, we wanted the players to basically learn something when they're done playing the game. And if we can show the project in several hospitals and schools and stuff like that, it would be really honored to do so because we really think that video games are a virtue of today's society and they can actually be used to learn a lot of things. It's where I learned how to speak English. It's where I learned how to, do a bunch of stuff. So why can't video games talk about, society's problems as well? I mean, movies do that, books do that. Why can't video games?
Yeah.
Is it because they're video games? It's an art form, just like any other.
Well, I take, for instance, I will just speak about this genre, RPG. It's like you're reading a book, but you're the main character. You're playing that
Exactly.
role instead of reading. So yeah, I really feel like the games can it can really teach us something. Like you said, learning English. Even though that I learn watching Cartoon Network, for
I
instance.
watched Cartoon Network for a lot of years. A
Yeah.
lot of years. But yeah, that was the whole idea with back then. It's just we didn't want to make just another game. We wanted a project that actually could impact you on a social level,
Mhm.
and give you a little bit of a new perspective and shine at the same time shine a bit of light on this on the problem that society has and refuses to admit it has a problem.
Mhm.
You know?
Yep.
But
That's a
yeah, that's the whole point.
that's a cool concept. Um, you guys weren't nominated for the youth. I don't know how to put the name of on. I'm trying to search here. You guys know Astral Shift, right? The studio.
Astral Shift, yeah.
Yeah, they were nominated for the kids
Oh,
game,
best kids game. Oh god. That
and
award was something.
I was like, come on. I mean, it's good that they were nominated, but it's an horror game, so
the thing is, the project that won, best kids game is so ironic. I don't know if I can say this, but it has a lot of dicks in it. A lot.
really.
Yes. And I found it hilarious. That, a kids game. Oh my fucking lord.
Mom, what's that?
Okay, imagine this.
How did that
You're
happen?
going you're going I could just imagine like a little kid buying this new game made nationally, one not called Controller King, and all of a sudden it's just like a bunch of dicks show up and they start fighting and whatnot, and you're like, okay, this isn't the type of kids game I was expecting.
Oh my god, I wasn't aware of that. But that game looks awesome. Like you need to
The
press.
game itself is really cool.
Yeah. Oh my god, so good.
But I can't wait for the dicks, man, because I can't wait. They should do a marketing campaign where they just say something along the lines of awarded best kids game by PlayStation Portugal and just dicks. Boom. Make it happen. Come on, boys.
On the screen.
Oh my god.
Ruben, stop killing Exile. Yeah, I'm here. I mean, I barely can see anything right now. I only have water on my eyes and on the glasses. So thank you, Ruben.
You're
For that.
welcome.
Schmuckman, you have any question related to the game? I'm sorry, this was
I-
Tell me.
I forgot what they were after that.
Oh god.
You
You
broke
said it's gonna be out
Schmuckman.
later in the year, right?
Yeah.
And you'll be on PlayStation, and you'll be on
PC, PS4, and PS4 VR.
Oh,
for the
any
first
plans to
year.
port it elsewhere at this time?
Not at the time of release, but 1 year after it releases, we want to release the game on VR on the PC as well.
wow. Now that you mentioned that, so far we had 0 studios that were thinking about releasing the game on VR.
Yes,
How-
you're the first.
Yeah, you're the
Mm.
first. How different
Oh
is to code the game? I mean, I know 0 code, okay, or
Well,
coding.
here's
We don't know the first thing about programming or
Okay.
devs.
Here's the thing about VR equipment is that sometimes the code doesn't change that much from one platform to another because at the end of the day you're still playing the same game. But in terms of controls, everything it needs an overhaul because you actually have the move controls and whatnot, and I need to plan for every specific movement that the player can do. The wheelchair part of the game is actually really interesting because once we have a VR headset to test the game on, we on the team wanted you to actually do the whole wheelchair movement with your arms,
Oh, that
And-
if you could pull that off.
and for you to turn, you'll only use one arm, so you turn the other side and make it as
Okay.
realistic as possible.
You can do wheelies.
We had someone
give
in
me
the
bad
chat ask.
ideas.
We had someone in the chat
Because
ask.
I've already made a lot of jokes about Alzheimer's and Furious, and people hated me for it.
Oh god.
Will we be able to do any drifting in the wheelchair? Someone asked earlier.
Okay, so let's reach a consensus then. I'll put an acceleration on the game. If you find a way to get max speed, God, I'm not gonna finish that sentence. That's a bad idea. I can't say that.
Okay, I'm just watching. I'm not saying anything.
I'm just watching. I just started imagining like Tony Hawk doing all these like wheelchair moves and whatnot, and like
Tony Hawk.
jumping,
Back
putting
then.
it over his head and stuff. We're like
In VR. Okay.
in VR.
That sounds like a DLC. Yeah.
There you go.
Man,
DLC
like,
get-
Tony
DLC
Hawk.
planned.
Tony Hawk Pro Wheelchair 2. Make it happen, boys.
You could be the first Tony Hawk game in how long has it been? 2016, 2015, something like that.
in a lot of time. Yeah.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
It's been a long time
They
since a
actually
good Tony
tried
Hawk
to
game.
release a game with an actual board, I guess. I don't know.
They did.
Oh.
It failed terribly.
That's why I never heard of it.
Yeah, you actually had the board to just stand on it. So yeah, it looks like Wii Fit. It's not. It's Wii Fit, right?
Yeah, it's the
yeah.
Wii Fit. I know what
That
you're
was
talking
the-
about.
Yeah, was something. But yeah, chat. If you guys have any question, again, you are free to ask them away. Okay. Like we were saying, I mean, Ruben has the Witcher 3 necklace. You can toss
And the
us.
Deadpool shirt. Gotta rock different merch on every podcast I go. That's the rule.
There you go.
Gotta show that merch.
You will have gray hairs in no time wearing that necklace. I told you.
As long as I can grunt the same way Geralt does, I'm golden.
You also have to speak like him, like those deep voice things that he
Yeah, the
does.
really raspy, deep voice.
Yeah, you need to.
Yeah, I need to like
whiskey.
start drinking whiskey every morning so I can get a semblance of that voice. Let's not do that.
That's why
Any release-
Schmuckman.
Any release
Okay,
date
let's
towards the end of the year, if everything goes correctly.
like any
Yeah.
just fall, winter.
Yeah, you have a window
Yeah.
the end of the year, but you don't have.
Can you
It's-
narrow it down a bit? I guess is what we're trying to ask.
I mean, fourth quarter of the year,
Okay. And
supposedly.
we have been actually mentioning this. There are two questions that devs never know the answer, and it's like a red line question. It's the
Okay.
release date and the price of the game.
The price I
If
could.
you,
How can you
Here's the-
price your baby like it's?
and if
Here's the
you
thing.
are uncomfortable with answering that, it is fine.
Yeah.
It's not that I'm uncomfortable. It's just that I don't have a straight answer for you.
Or that.
But the thing is, we had a price point that we wanted to establish, and I don't think that has changed. But ever since we won the PlayStation Awards, everything just kind of fell into turmoil because we started, contracts with PlayStation, and then we started negotiating a bunch of deals with them and whatnot, and that can influence the price point of the game. But so far, it hasn't.
Mhm.
Good point. We got No Man's Skies.
$9.99 was our idea. Okay, hopefully it won't change. No promises though.
Okay.
Well, if
It's-
it's gonna be that, would it's the whole VR part still be separate DLC or no?
No, there will be two different versions of the game, one for VR and one non-VR.
Okay.
But if you do buy the VR version, the normal version is also included, if that makes sense.
Actually, at this point, what with PS5 coming out later in the year, will that?
The PS4 games are retroactively compatible with PS5, so that's not an issue.
Okay.
Allegedly, but who knows until it actually comes out.
Well, hopefully. I mean,
Oh, that'd be great if they are.
I have tons of games to play on PlayStation 5 already. I have a backlog. Okay.
I have some.
How
I would
many
like to do
code
that when we're on
lines?
PS3.
That's a good question, actually. I don't know. Am I supposed to keep track of how many code lines I have? Because I don't.
Well-
I just kind of do things.
The game is not finished yet, so
That's true as well.
To be determined.
To be determined.
there you go. Um,
PS5 release. Up in the air at this point. Don't know.
Well,
You could
That-
be a launch title for the PS5. There you
exactly.
go. Yeah.
Man, I wish.
But then
That would be
again,
like the most power move I could do, but I don't think it's gonna happen.
the PlayStation
Yeah, we
5
gotta help him make it happen.
exactly. We have to. The PlayStation will be released in November, I guess. They actually said that that's the time frame.
Yeah, around
We
November,
have to
December
make
at the
it
latest.
happen.
Mm.
Yeah,
We're gonna make a petition.
That's one. Yeah, we haven't asked what games inspired you to make this game.
we were
Oh
about to do
boy.
that. Yeah, thank you.
So, okay, for this game in specific, I think my biggest influence was probably that Dragon Cancer. I love that game
Shit.
so much.
I don't know that.
It's basically uh, RL, a dad lost his son to cancer, and he
Mhm.
made a game about it. And it basically he used the game as a farewell letter
Hmm.
for his son, and he won an award at the Game Awards for best narrative and whatnot, where he even like cried on stage and whatnot. It was really like a very powerful and emotional
That'll sucker punch you in the feels.
experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was really. It brought me a sense of like pride because people actually recognized, the work of art that guy made, and especially with such a powerful message behind it.
Hmm.
If I remember accurately, some of the money he made, he ended up
He donated
donating
to Cancer Research Foundation and everything.
Okay, that's awesome.
This was what 2015, 2016, so I don't remember.
Yeah, around that time.
specifics.
It was a while ago. Other than that, Gone Home, Dear Esther, Stanley Parable, Vanishing of Ethan Carter, What Remains of Edith Finch, Firewatch. You know where I'm going with
Firewatch.
this.
Okay.
Stanley Parable, one of them.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fun one.
Stanley Parable inspired the team in the sense of it has a lot of puzzles, but they don't actually like feel like puzzles. You're just doing random things, but they're not
Oh
actually
yeah,
random at
definitely.
all. And that's kind of where we're going, because with the whole Alzheimer's thing, we can play with you in the way of, you keep forgetting things,
Oh boy.
and that as a gameplay mechanic works tremendously well for puzzles.
Oh,
Okay.
interesting.
So your
That's the tea.
storm with your colleagues will be fun to watch. Like that mechanic or forgetting about stuffs. Like, what about we doing this? But then again, you're on bed and then you forget what you were doing. Jesus, I can imagine that. You
No,
guys, you guys keep a track on your ideas.
yes, we have like a whole in-depth Trello board. I have my own personal Habitica. I have a lot of stuff written down. The thing about making puzzles for back then in specific is that first, the narrative has to make sense in the context of the puzzle you're solving.
Hmm.
Second,
Mhm.
the puzzle you're solving can't be too cryptic, but at the same time can't be too easy. Otherwise, it won't feel like we kind of have to exponentially make things harder as you go. Or alternatively, some puzzles are harder than others, but the rewards will be bigger.
Okay.
And we kind of have to strike a balance between both the hard puzzles and the easy puzzles and reward you for both. And that's been one of the toughest parts in terms of like actually designing puzzles for the game. The puzzles themselves, we have like crazy amounts of ideas because you can do a lot with just the whole aspect of, oh, I just placed this fuse here, but I forgot I placed it there, so the fuse blew out and something something something, and stuff kind of like it's kind of like a snowball. You start doing a puzzle, and then that puzzle is gonna affect other things, and then as
Mhm.
soon as you notice that the other things have been affected, you kind of have to backtrace your steps and figure it all out, and that makes it a lot more fun because it's not a one and done shut game.
Mhm.
You can do it in any order you like, because then again, you don't have an order. You forgot about the order, so you know where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
It makes it a little bit more interesting.
Okay. Okay.
Okay,
How do you
We have a lot of-
know that a puzzle is? I'm sorry, Shmaki. How do you know that a puzzle is a hard puzzle or a easy puzzle? How can you?
That's an alarm. Holy crap. Yeah, it's midnight. I usually go to
Party
sleep at
foul.
midnight. Let's not talk about that.
I'm not.
Um,
It's not me. Okay, I'm
the
not calling
puzzle
you.
difficulty is very weird in the sense of some people find puzzles easy, some people find puzzles hard. Usually my dad is my biggest puzzle tester because
Okay.
he played like all the adventure games you can think of back in the 90s and 80s and whatnot,
Oh,
like
nice.
Phantasmagoria, Secret of Monkey Island, Seventh Guest,
Nice.
11th Hour, like
Space Quest.
everything, like all of them. Siberia, I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream, all of those games. So he knows what a cryptic puzzle is.
Okay.
And whenever he says, this puzzle makes no fucking sense, that puzzle makes no sense. I believe him.
Oh wow.
That's point number one. Point number two, the form we have on Discord is going to come very, very in handy in the future because we are going to start testing out various parts of the game and we're going to allow people to play them as well and basically break the ever living crap out of it. And that's how we're going to basically gauge how a puzzle should be done, if it's okay right now, if it should be easier, if we need more tips, if it needs less tips, and trying to find a good balance for difficulty rewards.
Okay. Okay. We actually have a few questions on chat, but you were saying something. I'm sorry, Schmegman.
Two things. One, okay, so you're mentioning a lot of puzzles. Is this going to be a long game? Do you have any idea how long you're hoping that the game is going to be?
We're aiming for 3 hours, 3.5 hours long, and you can replay it multiple times and do stuff out of order and try and find out the collectibles and whatnot. Yep.
Okay.
Also, on the Discord, you posted a link to let people test it out. Do you mind if we would share that in the chat?
No, go right ahead.
There you go. Nice.
It's a very, very old build, by the way, but it's from November. The game has suffered a lot of changes up until now.
I'll bet people can have a clue what's the game
Yeah,
about.
but they can have a good judge of character of how the game is gonna work, the whole feel and the mood of it.
Okay. Manlek is asking, what's the best part of making a game?
The best part, well, at least to me, I've always found like making video games in a way like kind of therapeutic, because it not only serves as for me to actually talk about stuff that I normally don't talk about. Like I'm making a fucking game about Alzheimer's, man. That shit is painful.
Yeah.
But the way I'm expressing myself through video games is probably the best part about making a game, because I can share with people what I think about and what goes on in my mind and what I think is a problem and what I think isn't a problem, and show that in an artistic and cohesive way. That's the best part of making a game. Everything else is terrible. Don't make video games. It's terrible. Please don't. But yeah, if you like to express yourself in an artistic matter, sure. If you don't, stay far away. That's it.
Okay. Mitsurai is asking, if back then flops, wow.
Boy. Oh
Will,
boy.
will you keep trying to push your own indie developments or try to join an already existing studio?
Depends. Because if back then flops, it also depends on how hard it flops. Because here's the thing. If back then only does break even for the team, we can still keep going a little bit. If it flops completely and it doesn't give us any money, first, I'm fucked. Second, I will probably
I'm dead.
I would probably join an already existing studio, because then again, if back then flopped, it's because I don't have money, and if I don't have money, I don't have money for my own indie developments, and if I don't have my own indie developments, I need someone else's indie developments. And yeah, I would join another studio. I would like to not do that, because I like to do my own thing. and I like to basically gather ideas from everyone I know and meet people and whatnot. I really like the whole aspect of me being my own boss, in the sense of, as long as it works out, I can keep going and I'm doing what I love, and I would hate to throw that opportunity away,
Yeah.
because
So
I
you'd rather
realize that
just have your own studio and barely break
exactly.
even then.
I realize that I'm extremely lucky to be where I am right now, and I want to take full advantage of that. I
Yeah.
don't want to, so I don't want to be the game industry's rock star, but
You want to be the indie
I'm just
industry's
doing my own
rock
thing,
star.
And I like what I do. I can't see myself doing anything else. It was either this or be an actual rock star, so I prefer this.
Okay.
Backup plan.
But
It is a backup plan.
it's funny that you mentioned that because we were speaking before the podcast, and you were telling me that you like
Oh
to
boy. Oh no.
we going that you like
Okay,
to do.
I wasn't even privy to this part. I wasn't home
Yeah.
yet.
Yeah, chat. You guys don't know that, but Ruben. Yeah, it's the new nickname. I'm sorry.
Oh my god.
But he likes to do his own music, and he kind of sings, and yeah,
Oh
he plays
boy.
battery. I mean drums, battery. Jesus, I'm messing up stuffs. But he plays drums. I want to learn playing drums. But will the game have music? Are you working on towards that option on the game as
I
well?
we're currently working on a little marketing campaign, which is basically a song in Portuguese about Alzheimer's and whatnot, and basically create a whole dynamic around that. Myself, I am no way related to music for back then. That's entirely Caleb's job. Of course, I opinate and give my opinion on it and whatnot, but other than that, I don't do anything music related. Music, though, for me has always been like, my escape hobby. Whenever I'm tired of making code or thinking or brainstorming ideas or whatnot, I just start writing songs depending on my mood. I've written the whole classic lovey-dovey, I miss my ex songs. I've written like fire and brimstone songs, everything. It literally depends on my mood.
Okay, I'm here. I'm here joking
Why is
with.
everyone making fun of my opinionates? I
I'm
know I'm saying it incorrectly, but come on.
I'm here joking about that name, but I do love Super Pop Seco podcast and Luis and Rui and Diogo and Pina. They are doing an awesome job as well. So I'm sorry, Luis. I'm joking. Okay. Um. So yeah, let me read. I think we have a final question. There you go. What do you prefer? Open your Oh, hold on. We already have the answer for
We already
that.
answered that. We already
Yeah.
covered that.
Oh, how the graphics gonna be? Realistic, cartoony?
I
I mean,
mean,
kind of
it's
realistic.
it's kind of realistic, not like 4K hyper realism kind of thing, but it's kind of a mixture. You know how the Sonards kind of did its thing it was semi-realistic, but it
Yeah,
was a bit watercolor.
yeah.
We're kind of aiming towards that style. So yeah, more towards a realistic sense, but with a little bit more artsy fartsy things on top.
Okay.
You gonna change up the art style? Say, how was it? You're gonna be in the past or in the
Yes. Yes.
does
The past and present need to
yeah,
have
that
a
thank
really big contrast. Usually you're gonna notice not only in the gameplay sense but also in the graphical sense, because that makes sense. Derp. And
PS5 is 8K, so
PS5 is 8K.
I guess that's what the chat's saying.
Well, it's 8K, but if you don't have an 8K screen, you're safe.
You're gonna release for
Yeah, that's
PS2
true.
or PS4. I'm
God.
gonna release the game for the Nintendo 64. You better watch out.
Hell yeah, I gotta get mine out of the storage then.
That will not work for me because I don't own one. Okay.
It's okay. You can still play it on the PC.
Okay.
That's true.
Okay. So yeah, I think we pretty much covered everything, guys. I don't know if you have more questions, Schmuckman. If you're good.
Pretty much have it. I got. All right. Just gonna plug all your stuff one more time. That's everything I had as far as inquiry goes.
Okay. So yeah, guys, this was the podcast number 7. Like I said previously, this will be available on YouTube in a video and by audio, just audio on Spotify. This will be available the day next after the podcast, so which means tomorrow. Once again, thank you so much, Ruben, for being here with us, talking about your project. Was a privilege to have you here. Okay,
Thank you.
and
Likewise.
One last one of how much does it take to create an entire level?
How much does it take to create a full level? Okay, so
Take that as you may.
it
Yeah,
kind of
that's what I'm
depends.
yeah, it kind of depends. I guess I'll give 2 examples for Demon's Game and Back Then, respectively.
Mhm.
Because for Demon's Game, each level was a lot more simple in the sense of, it wasn't. It had branching paths, and you could do like optional stuff. But usually, my process starts from actually thinking about what happens in the level, drawing something like a block out, very simple from the top down perspective. Put that into Unity, run around a bit with a piece of broken code and whatnot, and see if everything works according to plan. Then make the pacing correct. Then substitute all the art, and then test the level again to see if everything works correctly. And yeah,
Okay.
that was for Demon's Game.
Mhm.
Of which, by
back
the way,
then-
I think I found it, and there's a link for that.
Oof,
There you go.
that is it. God,
Nice.
I just cringe every time I look at that game now. Anyways,
Hey, Hey, here's what you can do. You can remaster it and then release more episodes. There you go. Future plan.
gonna make a Patreon soon. A Demon's Game episode 2, make it happen.
Oh, that's an idea.
Who knows?
It's an idea.
And yeah, basically that's how I made levels for Demon's Game. For back then, it's a lot more complicated because not only do the levels divide themselves between the whole past and present thing, but it has a lot more interaction. It's a lot more in depth. It's a lot more. How should I put this? It's a lot fuller, if that makes sense. You have so much stuff you can do in the sense of clicking things and walking everywhere and exploring everything literally that you can click on, that I always have to do 4, 5, 6 takes on every single level to check all the interactions, check all the code, check everything, and then substitute the art, and then make everything tie together, work the pacing, yada yada yada.
Yeah,
Levels are hard, man.
it sure looks like it. Yeah. So yeah, guys, thank you so much for being on the chat with us. The podcast happens every single Monday at 11 p.m. GMT time. PM
Except next week.
past Monday. Next week we're going to have a different schedule. It will be linked on Twitter. Okay, so if you guys want to keep on track
So you
with
can
that,
ignore his previous statement.
exactly. Well, yeah. This week and next week will be an exception, but yeah. Please consider to follow Schmuckman on Twitter and on Twitch. He streams pretty much every single day. Follow also the project of Ruben and Back Then Game and his
You can
studio.
find him. You can find Exile here and as ExileCast on Twitter as well.
Yeah, thank you. Also, you guys can support the project on Patreon, okay, and
I
earn
already plugged it.
a VIP badge on Twitch. I'm just saying, okay. Okay, guys, thank you. Bye bye.
Promotion, everybody.
Bye bye. Thank you.
See you guys.